Today I'm sitting down with John Toomer, who is the owner of Reliant Insurance Services. They specialize in home, auto, and flood insurance. Now they offer other types of insurance as well, but those are the main categories of insurance and probably the ones that we all need the most: home, auto, and flood. Now I met John through, I believe we met through social media, but super awesome guy, super great with what he does at the insurance agency that he runs. And, customer service is a massive component in the real estate world and in business in general. And that's one thing that John does really well. So I'm excited to kind of sit down, chat with him a little bit more, learn more about Reliant Insurance Services and how John got into insurance as well. It's not something that a lot of kids grow up like wanting to be running an insurance agency. So curious to see what he has to say there. And I know you'll tune in and enjoy it as well. Welcome to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. I'm your host, Florida native and real estate ninja, Donnie Hathaway. I started this podcast because I'm extremely passionate about connecting you with the people and the local businesses that make Palm Harbor so special. Palm Harbor, Florida is a great place to live, work, and play. It has everything you could dream of, from the food, the outdoors, the lifestyle, to the people in the community. I wanted to create a podcast that connected the community and inspired everyone to live better. To join this community and stay up to date on all things Palm Harbor, visit my website. It's palmharborlocal.com and sign up there to join the locals. And remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local. So welcome, John. Appreciate you being on the podcast today. I'm super excited to chat with you. We've chatted before. Yeah. So thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So let's start off by talking about your business, Reliant Insurance, and kind of what you do and kind of how you got into that as well.
Yeah. So we specialize in home insurance, flood insurance, and auto insurance. We write a lot of different other types of insurance as well. But where we really built our niche was with realtors and lenders. And that's kind of what I've grown the agency on, is working with them and bringing value to them and their clients. So, for example, somebody comes, they need to buy a house. Obviously, they need insurance. We're there to help out. And there's, as you know, as a realtor, there's lots of different pitfalls that they can fall into while trying to get the insurance. So we're there as an expert dealing with people who are buying homes, and we kind of overcome those. We deal with it every day. There's pretty much nothing we haven't seen.
Yep. And
so we just take care of it and do it quickly, efficiently, and with a smile. And people seem to like it.
Yeah. So how did you get into insurance? Because that's I feel like that's a career that probably a lot of people look at and are like, oh, I don't want to
No, I never planned on it. I worked for my father-in-law for a number of years, and he was in insurance, but it's a different type of insurance. They focus on dealing with extended warranties, things of that nature, through car dealerships. Okay. So it's a completely different type of insurance. And one time he came up with the idea about opening an insurance agency. I said, John, do you ever think about that? I said, no. I said, okay. So I got my license, and I opened an insurance agency. So I got into it. That way. But when I first opened it, I looked back at, how did insurance change my life? And one of the big things is I grew up, my dad owned a fleet of shrimp boats. So I grew up around the docks and, boats going out and in all the time. And fortunately, he was able to stay home while the boats went in and out for a number of years. But eventually he did have to go and run his boat. So he did that and it sank. And if you don't have insurance, that's his livelihood.
Yeah.
So fortunately, they had insurance. It paid for it. It paid for lost income. He was able to get a new boat, and I actually helped him. It was my freshman year in college. My sophomore year. Took off the fall semester and actually helped get the boat in shape to go out, and went out on the maiden voyage with it. And then I hung up my stirrups. I was done.
Yeah. Enough of that.
It's tough work. Yeah.
Stick to the insurance stuff.
Uh-huh.
So Insurance is like one of those things. I mean, now it seems like there's insurance for everything. Obviously, like there's, like the insurance that you cover for home, auto, and flood.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the things, the important stuff that you really need, right? And now there's like insurance for anything and everything, like you name it. So what led you to stick with like, the type of insurance that you started with?
So the home and the flood is, you're pretty standard. It's what most people have, and they're required by law to have it. So it's a good business to be in.
Right.
And then flood, we are in Florida, and we are in Tampa Bay, and actually Pinellas County is one of the highest, rated. They have more homes in a flood zone than pretty much anywhere else in the United States.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
So it's a great market to be in for flood as well.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's kind of why I targeted those. And then we do boats and motorcycles and umbrella policies and all the other toys that people have.
Yeah. Okay.
Those kind of fill in between.
Yeah. So where do you see, I know there's been a lot of, questions and headaches and stuff with insurance, like cost of insurance, especially homeowners insurance, rising over the last couple of years in Florida with the fraud and all that stuff going on. What do you see kind of happening with that? What do you see like the future of insurance? Like, is it going to, I guess, kind of get cleaned up or, I don't see prices coming down, right?
Slowly, we might go into a soft market at some point, but not anytime soon. It might be a few years before prices start to actually go down once they get control of the litigation. They did pass some laws recently that should help, but a lot of the problem is the attorney's fees and the way the attorneys are set up. And while they did address some of that, it's still a big issue. But they're cleaning it up, but it's probably going to take a good 18 months before we see the actual results of those laws. And no, like you had mentioned, prices really won't go down. Maybe if we go into a soft market, we get some new carriers that come in. What happens, these new carriers come in, they don't have a book of business, so they don't have any losses. So they can charge a cheaper price because they don't have to worry about claims.
Yeah.
So they'll come in and then they'll drive price down a little bit. But then it goes back up. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like anything, any business.
Anything.
Yeah. Do we typically have, I think the last two insurance carriers that I had either left the state or went out of business. Is that just like because of like more recently of the litigation and maybe flood and that sort of stuff? Or
absolutely. Well, it's more of the litigation, the roof. It's the roof claims.
Yeah.
It's the primary
That's put a lot
driver.
of people out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens, it's not even the claims payout that's really putting them, it's the attorney's fees. Because the attorneys can charge up to 3 times their actual rate working with the insurance companies when they're going against it. Oh. And so they can try to fight the claim, but then next thing they know, they're paying $150,000 when the claim was a $20,000 claim. Yeah. And so it's the way the laws are written. And that's, before when I alluded to attorneys, that's one of the things too, is the attorney fees and the way they're structured.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. So let's talk about like running a business or owning a business. Is that something you always wanted to do as a kid growing up, or?
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, there's a part when I was younger, I wanted to be a baseball player, and then a veterinarian, and then a cop.
A veterinarian.
Yeah,
okay.
A veterinarian. And then through college, it was a cop for the first couple years. I was a 911 dispatcher, and I was a criminology major, and that's where I was going. And then one day I decided I didn't want to do that because, the pay wasn't worth the risk. And so I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just got a communications degree.
Okay.
So it's like business without the math.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
So a little bit of marketing, persuasion, things of that nature. And I really like that.
Yeah. So what is it? I guess what do you enjoy about the insurance side of the business too?
I like the business aspect. Running a business, managing a business. I don't know if it's because my father always owned a business.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law owned his own business, and so that's what I was used to being around.
Just like in your blood.
Yeah. So, and I'm a good employee, but I always kind of like to do my own thing, both in my personal life and professional. And it's a double-edged sword many times. But that's the same thing too, as I was always drawn to sales from college, starting in college, because if you produce, they leave you alone for the most part. You're managers.
Right.
And it's a very independent type of position. And I like that. And that's what I like about owning a business is I get to make the decisions. Now it comes with all the stress and all the baggage that comes with it.
Right.
But it's worth it.
Yeah. If you can handle that, then you're good. What kind of jobs did you have like in school, or did you work in school, or?
I did. I worked full time. Put myself through college with a part scholarship, part working.
Yeah.
I sold cell phones majority of the time.
Cell phones. Okay.
That's when I got into sales.
Okay.
And I realized I liked it. And I never thought about sales before that.
Okay.
I actually started in customer service in cell phones.
Cool.
Yeah, at a location. So cell phones, and then I started selling some cars.
Nice.
Part-time in college.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been a few different sales roles.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked before about the business and marketing and that sort of stuff. Let's talk about that a little bit. And what do you enjoy about the marketing side of, because you're running a business, right? You got to do sales, you got to do marketing, the customer service, all of it. Is marketing your kind of your favorite aspect of the business?
My favorite, and it's the main thing I focus on. I've been fortunate enough over the last 5 years to build a company where I have employees that handle most of the day-to-day, the quoting and the binding of the policies and working with clients. So my job at the end of the day is to manage that and to put in the systems and processes so they can operate, but also is to make the phone ring. To bring the clients in, which is all marketing.
Right.
So that's what I do most of the time. And after COVID, we kind of slowed down with COVID, not business-wise. Business we picked up, which was interesting because the housing market picked up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times our sales will follow the housing market because we do work with lenders and realtors so much. But yeah, that's what I enjoy doing. I think it's the creative side too. Now, I'm not very good at drawing or pictures or anything like that, but when it comes to marketing, things just pop in my head. Some of them are ridiculous and will never work, and others, turn out to be okay.
Yeah. So what is it that process of, you have an idea and you're like, okay, let's try this. Is it you just enjoy like that side of like trying new things or maybe just like the independence of like being like.
It's different. I don't like the same monotony. I like different. I like change. I like new.
Yeah.
Again, double-edged sword.
Yeah. How do you balance that of like, you find something that works, let's stick with this, and then it becomes like monotonous and maybe a little bit boring, but it's working, and you don't want to change that, right?
Yeah, I try not to change it. Unfortunately, there's never been an idea that I've come up with that's been so big that I can just rest my laurels on. And I think that's the same for most businesses out there. There's no silver bullet.
Right.
It's a bunch of little things you're doing right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So it's just something new, something different.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with something. And that's the fun part. And then once I build it or get it to where I want it's going, I'll get bored. And I'll have to decide, okay, how well is this working? Is this something I want to continue to? Or is this something that it's doing okay, but I can replace it with something that might do a little better? Yeah.
Or pull a piece from it and,
exactly
expand another idea. And marketing's always changing, right? The way you market.
Yes.
Right. 20 years ago it used to be a lot different than it is now. So yeah, it's interesting. I do like I think that's one thing I've kind of focused on the last couple of years in my real estate business too, is like marketing and learning how to run a business too, because having no experience in, running a business and building a business, that's something I've really wanted to learn so that, you could translate that into anything else you want to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a learning curve too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're always learning.
Yeah. So what are maybe some tips or advice for somebody who's starting a business and, for like marketing tips, right? Like what are some ways or strategies or something that they can try, that are maybe like universal? What's up, Palm Harbor? It's your host, Donnie Hathaway. If you are looking to stay up to date with all things Palm Harbor, then visit my website. It's palmharborlocal.com. Super simple. You can sign up there, join the locals, where I'll be sharing more information on local events, local history, and what's happening in Palm Harbor. I really want to create and add more value to you as a listener for spending your valuable time tuning into my podcast. So join me there, keep listening, and remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local.
My number one tip to anybody, and this is for all of life, and this is very generic, but I swear by it because I've come against a lot of obstacles, is never give up. just when you're down, when you're out. And that's the hardest part about owning your business or being a solopreneur or whatever you're doing, is you start to doubt yourself and you start to question yourself.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm sure you've done the same thing. And you lay there, but just never give up. Keep moving forward. If something doesn't work, guess what? That's fine. Go find something else that will work. Most of the time, they don't work.
Yeah.
Most of my ideas, a lot of my ideas I come up with, and you might be the same, laying in bed, you're trying to fall asleep, your mind's going, all of a sudden an idea pops in your head. So what I do is I don't keep a notepad. I email myself.
Okay.
So I email myself the idea, so the next morning when I get to my desk, I have it up there, and half the time I just delete it.
Yeah. You're like, that was dumb.
Yeah. The other half of the time I hold on to it and think about it, and then every once in a while there'll be something good that comes of it.
Yeah. I like that. I feel like I've been there too, where it's like, you know, you have this idea and you're like half asleep and you're like, oh, this is good. And then you think, you know, you visit it again the next morning and you're like, what?
Terrible.
What was I thinking? Yeah. And I think that's, yeah, I remember early on in real estate, like speaking of, you know, not giving up, right? There's definitely those days. And I don't know if it's just like everybody has to kind of go through that phase or whatever, but there's definitely those days where you're just like, you're just not feeling it, right? And then for me, I figured out that when I would have those moments or I would feel it, you know, like I just don't feel like, you know, showing up today or whatever it is, I would just show up. And I would, you know, just push through those moments. And then I would look back and be like, you know, I'd find like a win or something that I got in that moment just for showing up that day. It could have been something small, but it ended up being like a huge win, you know, long term, right? Just pushing through and persevering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's not always easy to do.
No,
in
it's
those
very
moments.
hard.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. A lot of times, you know, between the first place guy and the second place guy or the fifth place guy, there's not a big difference in between. But, you know, typically the one shows up every time is consistent. And that's just life.
Yep.
Discipline.
Right.
Which is tough.
Yeah, discipline. That's probably the hardest thing. I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and we were talking about discipline.
Yeah.
It's like discipline and hard work, right? If you could like master those two traits.
Yeah.
I mean,
feels easy, everybody would do it. Right?
Yep, exactly. So speaking of easy or challenging, what have been some challenges from I guess starting a business that you've had to kind of overcome?
It was a grind. I mean, in the beginning, it's just a lot of time and sweat equity.
Yeah.
And that was a lot. And not knowing what I was doing and trying to figure out where my place was. Because when I started the agency, I didn't know I was going to work with realtors and lenders. Didn't even cross my mind. So I was trying, you know, first I started going with family and friends and trying to branch out from there. And then I stumbled across working with a realtor. Then I met a lender. Then I was like, I kind of like this. I like the home and real estate market.
Yeah.
I just enjoy doing that. So that's kind of how I kind of ran with that.
Is that not like a logical step for an insurance agency to partner with lenders and
it is very common.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because it's a great source of new leads.
Right.
And it's great. It's all relationship based.
Yeah, you build those connections. Yeah, and they're going to keep coming back and back.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But managing, I'd say the difficulty, one thing I wasn't prepared for is managing people. I mean, I've managed people in the past. I've been a sales manager.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not that it's difficult all the time. It's just the least enjoyable part of my business. I love talking to them. I love working with them in the day-to-day, and we have our morning meeting, and that's great and fun, and you cut up. But the actual management part of the people, that is not so much. Not the fun part.
And how many people do you have working for you now?
We currently have 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do you do there to kind of, like, what have you done to kind of improve your skill set on, you know, managing people?
Just books, reading, articles.
Yeah.
Typically what I have done in all aspects of my life is if I want to know something, I look up that particular topic. I don't necessarily read just generic books. Sometimes I do. But most of the time it's very topic research, quick, gives me what I need. And so a lot of articles.
Yeah.
Some podcasts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel like that's the way a lot of people are learning now these days, right? I've spoken to a lot of business owners where same thing, they don't have any experience, but all that information is out there.
Yep.
And part of it is just trial and error,
Yep.
Just going through it and doing that. Yeah. All right. So let's dive into like outside of work. What do you like doing?
Boating, getting out on the water. But we have 3 kids, so we're usually busy doing something, whether it's baseball, my daughter's dance. She's starting cheerleading now. So just things around the house with the family.
Yeah.
But our big thing that we enjoy as a family is boating.
Yeah. So you guys get out every weekend or?
Not every weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of times we do during the week. So when the kids get out of school, we'll grab them, we'll go out on the boat.
Yeah.
Go have dinner at the island.
That's pretty cool.
Or in the morning, if I'm flexible with my schedule, drop the kids off. Me and the wife will go out.
Yeah.
Take the baby. But
yeah, it's definitely, and it's probably quieter on the water than the weekends.
It's so quiet. It's especially the mornings on the weekdays.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You see more wildlife. You see more dolphins. You see more things out there. And it's just slick calm in the morning.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of fishing, and I had a buddy that we do a lot of like night fishing.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's like the transition, like, so we'd go out probably like 5, 6 o'clock, and then we do a little fishing, catch some bait and that sort of stuff, and then kind of get ready for the nighttime and fishing in the dark and whatnot. And that transition, like when the sun goes down, it's like everything just quiets down. And it's just cool to be out on the water during those moments.
Yeah, the wind stops.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's so cool.
It's the sun, it's the heat that makes the wind go. So.
Yeah, it's just it's a cool experience. So if you haven't done that, do it.
You got to do it.
Get out on the water. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about, do you have like a favorite spot that you guys like going to?
Three Rooker, typically.
Yeah.
Or Anclote.
Yeah. Anclote's cool.
Yeah, Anclote's cool.
Have you guys ever camped out there?
We have not.
Okay.
Talked about it.
Yeah.
But again, 3 young kids, that would be a lot.
Yeah.
I'd be scared I'd wake up and one of the kids would be in the water in the middle of the night, or you don't know.
Yeah, I did that before kids. I camped out there.
Did you camp?
Yeah.
You got any issues with horse flies or?
No. So the first time I actually kayaked out there and brought like a tent and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think I brought shoes. So I maybe had sandals or something like that. But I'm like, I don't need shoes. I can be on the beach and that sort of stuff. But like in the north end of the island where you can camp, if you go like off the beach, there's a lot of like the sand spurs and stuff all over the place. So I was trying to go get firewood, and I'm walking in like a field of sand spurs. It didn't work out.
No, it's good to know.
Yeah.
I might take my son out there, maybe.
Yeah, it's fun.
So it's the north tip.
Yeah.
Anclote. See, I've never been up there. I always do the south tip, or we'll do like Three Rooker.
Okay.
We'll stay right in that area. Yeah. I gotta go check it out.
Have you been to the lighthouse then?
I have not.
Okay. I've never done that either.
No. I mean, you see it. It's always there. Yeah. What do you have to go on the west side, on the Gulf side, and then?
No, I think it's on the east side. There's a dock on the east side.
Are you allowed to dock up there?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's a good question.
Big concrete. I think. Concrete.
You're right. Yep.
Big concrete. Yeah. I don't know. I try not to get too close because it's shallow up there.
Yeah. I think there's a little hole right by the where the dock's at. But yeah, the north end is cool. I mean, it's crazy, like waking up. We're going out there, like you said, first thing in the morning. Yeah. And you go on the Gulf side, and it just doesn't even feel like you're in Florida. No. It's so cool to experience that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So anything else besides boating? Like, what's one of your favorite spots besides boating to do in the area? Like favorite restaurant, park, something like that?
Restaurant. Well, it depends. We'll get on kicks. Lately, we've been on Zimzari's, which is up in Trinity.
Okay.
Then there's Thai Samurai, which is up in Trinity as well. We live in East Lake, like the very north side of East Lake. So we're right there by Keystone.
Yeah.
So we'll venture down into Palm Harbor. We'll go to Tarpon Springs. We'll go to Trinity. But we just hit different restaurants. There's really none.
What type of food is those?
Zimzari's is like a Californian type of meal. California Mexican. And then Thai Samurai is Thai.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Check it out.
Nice. Yeah. I don't honestly like the East Lake area. it's like one way in, one way out, right? So I don't go up there too often.
Yeah, there's two ways. You can go Keystone Road to, and then shoot down East Lake Road.
Yep.
Or you come up through Boot Ranch.
Yep.
Yeah, but once you're in there, you're locked because you got a lake on one side and you got woods on the other.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool though. That's a neat thing about the East Lake area.
Unless
right?
you're in the traffic.
Right. Just don't go, like 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
4 or 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it'll get bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to East Lake High School.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So I know all about that area.
Yep.
Yeah. So awesome, John. Well, thanks for being here. How can people get a hold of you? How can they get some quotes from you?
Yeah, they can check us out on our website. It's myreliantinsurance.com. And on there, we have stuff about our team, about our company, and you can get a quote right there.
Yeah, and it's a pretty easy website. I was on there earlier, and it's like super informative.
It's clean.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And we'll have all the links in the description for everyone below. But
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for being here, John.
All right, thank you.
Thank you again for listening to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. I really hope you got a ton of value out of today's episode. Now, if you're looking to connect with the guest or just get more information on the episode, then you can check the description below. I'll have all the links in the episode as well as a link back to my website. It's palmharborlocal.com, where you can stay up to date on what's going on with the podcast and sign up there to join the locals. Let's get after it this week, and remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local.